Alright, well, welcome back to Dwarf Fortress. Or let's play Dwarf Fortress. And, I have played quite a bit into the future. On the whole, nothing really exciting has happened, but there's been an accumulation of lots of small chores getting done that has produced a rather exciting result. And this has been a lot of planning has taken place to make all this happen. But let's go ahead and start off on the top floor. You can see here now everything inside of the gate is smooth. All of the floor here is smooth. And this was not the result of me wanting to smooth it out. This was the result of having around 85 people on stone detail duty constantly and running out of jobs for those people to do on the lower levels. So I had to give them something to do, otherwise they'd sit around and drink all of my alcohol and eat all of my food. So they went up here and just smoothed out the entire top level. Now we go down one floor. You can see here the same old setup as last time. You can see we've now abandoned the old farms, and on the same floor here we have our new farms, and it doesn't look like much now, but there are a lot. You see these blinking green squares here? These are all new farms. This is one massive plum helmet farm that just farms plum helmets year round. These are all pigtail farms. However, they're not farming pigtails simply because, as you'll notice down here, we have like completely filled up all of our food stockpile, and we're completely over capacity as far as food is concerned. And I'll show you the stockpile screen pretty soon. Go down another level. We see our familiar hallway. And what's this? All of the loose stone in the entire main hall and also the dining room and the hospital has been completely cleared. And that's because we have had major progress in our craft dwarves areas, and I'll show you that real quick. Oops. Right here, you can see our dwarves are currently pumping out goods, doing things as usual. You'll notice here we do have someone who is taken by a mood. I'm not going to be able to get them the things they need. They're going to go insane. There's no question about that. I still haven't walled them in. I don't think I will, because I've already had one person go berserk since last we met, and they were, I walled them in, killed them. I think I actually showed a little bit of me doing that, like walling them in or something. But in any case, we're going to have another person go insane because I'm not going to be able to get them what they need, even though I have lots of lumber, lots of cloth, lots of cut gems, and lots of bones in the refuse pile. So I don't know why they cannot fulfill this, but they obviously need something I don't have. But in any case, you'll notice a lot of this stone around the craft workshops has been cleared out. On the lower level, you see most of the areas in the stockpile have been cleared out, and we've started adding these little things right here that look like downward staircases. In reality, they're bins full of finished goods. And these finished good bins, they're worth an incredibly large amount in our trade screen. In fact, I was able to sell just about 4 of these and buy an entire trade caravan in the last caravan that came. So we have had a massive success in our industry, and I think we're doing pretty well on the trade front. And you'll notice everything here is smoothed out as well. In fact, everything on this floor is smoothed out, I believe. You can see kind of off to the left there a little bit of new expansion. I don't want to go over that yet. First, I want to continue down here. You can see we have planned out, or we finished having all of the new bedrooms areas pretty much dug out, except for a few down there. And we've smoothed out everything back here. I still haven't placed very many new beds. I've had most of the new dwarves. In fact, probably over half the fortress right now is sleeping inside of a dormitory in the hospital along these 8 beds. But that's okay because they tend to have a sleep cycle that aligns up perfectly with allowing them to each have a bed when they need it. Alright, so now we'll get to this new area. This right here is our nobles' quarters. And I'll explain this a little bit. First, here we have each of these areas to the left and right here represents one noble house, one unit of noble housing. This area where the cursor is right now, that is a dining room for a noble. And you can see the food stockpile in here has already been filled up. The reason it's already filled up, even though there's not a dining room and there's no noble living here yet, is because we've already completely overfilled our regular food stockpile. There's an identical noble housing unit here, and these are really not for nobles as much as they're for our administrators. So there are common dwarves who happen to be in positions of power, so they will receive pretty nice bedrooms, and they're already lined with statues and have been completely smoothed out and emptied of all loose stone. You can see above that, where the cursor is now, another noble bedroom. This will be for our actual noble, and actually I'm thinking about making it for whoever decides, or whoever is going to become the leader of our Craft Dwarves Union is going to live in this housing unit. And at the moment, I think Che Flagel seems to be the likely candidate for becoming the leader of the Craft Dwarves Union. Else it's going to be me, because those are the two largest contributors as far as producing tradable goods have gone. So they will be heading up our industry, most likely. Then on the left, all of this goes to one man. This area right here, starting first with the statue garden, and this top and bottom sections of the statue garden, I'm going to be channeling this out and putting water there. So it's going to have water, statue garden, statues or rather carved columns with engravings, and probably going to engrave the whole thing. So this will be an extremely lavish entryway. This all belongs to one man. It's our mayor. And in fact, democracy has come to the fortress. We've had one man be elected as mayor, replacing our previous expedition leader, Joseph V. Stalin. It's an unnamed dwarf for the moment, but I think I will be giving it to probably someone special who has deserved the position. I might even kick out the current mayor and elect someone who I think should be the mayor. I don't know. But in any case, they've got absolutely lavish housing. There is a hallway leading in after the statue garden that goes to the dining room, which seats enough people to constitute a dining room large enough for a fortress that's about half our size, just for one man. Then you have food stockpiles that is about the same size as our original food stockpile was. Across the hallway you have the study, which has got two coffers, statues, again incredibly lavish. And then you enter the main bedroom, which has been the only place so far to receive actual engravings. And all of these walls here are engraved, and has got a weapon rack, armor rack, two cabinets, two coffers, a red stone and a siltstone statues, and then the two beds. So this bedroom here is the nicest bedroom in the entire fort, the largest one so far. Still not very complete. I have yet to add in most of the items I'm going to be. And finally in the back here is a tomb, where our mayor will rest, be put to rest anyways. And I might eventually expand this to just be all of the mayors of the fortress, because I have a feeling the mayors are not going to be lasting very long in the position, but they still deserve a proper burial, as they were the leaders of the fortress at one time. So yeah, we do have a massive nobles area for now. Only can actually house 4 individuals, but that's okay, because our administrators, I don't have very many administrators yet, and I'm planning on kicking out any actual dwarven nobles who come to the fortress so far, and just sticking with common dwarves for the moment. I don't want to deal with nobles and their constant demands. But our mayor has actually done his own demands quite a bit so far. He's been requiring things be made, and he's required a huge amount of stuff that goes in his house. So we've already got a bit of that going on. But yeah, this is the nobles' quarter. Very nice. It's going to be further expanded, and this is just the beginning. I will be putting in probably another large central plaza, kind of like the rest of our fortress is designed around. And in fact, I put in many of these plazas elsewhere, as you'll see, but I'm probably going to have one for the nobles. It'll be probably slightly smaller, might have a waterfall going through it, and I don't know. But it'll be really nice in any case. Certainly, there's a large concentration of wealth in the hands of an extremely limited number of people for our fortress, as most of the individuals in our fortress now live in dormitories in the hospital, and just one man lives in an area large enough to house if I made it dormitories, the entire fortress. So yeah, large concentration of wealth. You can see down here, there are 2 rooms on the side here. Actually, there's technically 4 rooms, but 2 buildings. One of them is basically complete. We've got 2 administrative offices. This is going to be the office of our bookkeeper, who is Observer 92. I have yet to set him to work doing any bookkeeping because I already am pretty aware of our stocks. Don't need it right now. But I'm going to be putting to work as such once I start getting through in Dwarf Therapist and assigning the roles that people need to do. But you can see there's a waiting room here, there's a statue outside, there's a statue inside, and then there's obviously his desk and his office chair. So yeah, very lavish offices for our administrators. Across the hallway is going to be the office of our manager, and at the moment, that is probably going to be Leet Gamer, because he is the most capable administrative dwarf that we have in the fortress. So he is probably going to be our fortress manager. He's going to have an office here that's going to be very similar to the office across the hallway, but I'll probably use siltstone instead of bauxite for the furniture. Okay, so then you see on the left here, heading off a hallway, this is the area that goes down to our waterworks. They have not been completely dug out yet, and I still haven't designated all of it even for digging yet, but they're under construction. It'll be how we manage the sort of sewage system of our fortress, and I do actually plan on having a sewage system and plumbing, really, just throughout the fortress, being able to sprout water up where it's needed, and being able to have wells easily accessible throughout most of the fortress. So the waterworks will be doing that, and I'll go downstairs and show you the further expansion of that. But let's deal with this floor first. Okay, so down the hallway from the administrators, 2 offices, and there's going to be more offices, obviously along the side. There's lots of space at the moment, but those are the only ones I've dug out so far. You can see this is starting to be where we're back into the non-collected stone, the more loose stone, and this hallway is not that new, but our dwarves have rarely gone down it except to smooth out the walls, and it leads down into a central plaza here that goes to the lower floor from this one, and the river is right on top of it. So I never did any construction during the spring or summer because it's really annoying. Got hit with damp stone notifications all the time, and so instead I waited until the winter, dug all this area out, and then proceeded to leave alone the next area, which is this one, because spring came along. I didn't want to deal with damp stone because, as you can see, the river just is right on top of this thing. But this area here is a plaza that goes down to the mid floor, the crafting floor. Really, it's going to spread out and go basically to where our forges are going to be for the moment, I think. But that'll be on a lower floor. For now, it just serves as a hub of transportation. Across the hallway is an identical one that goes to the same floor, but again, there's a bridge linking them, and I'll show you what that looks like. Then in the middle of these 2 areas here, we have these rooms. I think these are going to be statue gardens, and I'm not really sure about what to do with them yet, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, I want to put statue gardens in them, and then the dwarves can just gather here and converse and do all that stuff, because this area right down here is going to be the main causeway of our fortress. This is the main traveling location, and you can see how absolutely gigantic the hallways are in this main causeway. It's I believe like 11 tiles across, as opposed to the previous tile length of our hallway, which was already massive at 7. So you can see this is just absolutely incredibly massive, and it's going to be able to facilitate more traffic than we're probably ever going to be able to produce. But again, I wanted to do something really grand for this fortress, and I think that having this system of really impressively large structures is going to be one way of doing that. So that's this area, and all of it does link back up into the residential quarter. There's a tunnel connecting that, and all of it is aligned at 90-degree angles according to the columns. Everything is built around that system of columns, and here the columns get larger because the hallway is so massive. I didn't want to have to put individual small columns and make it look all cluttered, so instead I increased the column size. But yeah, let's go downstairs. This floor is right now just a hub for going downstairs, but as I said, this is where we're going to probably branch out and put all of our forges and probably our animal industry, I'm not 100% certain yet, but yeah, it's very developed. And you can see there's a bridge here. This bridge is actually suspended uh, via the columns underneath it, and it overlooks the massive causeway that travels basically back towards the Craft Dwarves workshops area. And nothing much on this floor yet, just this little expansion. All of it's pretty much smoothed out. Go down another floor. You can see this is where the primary work is being done at the moment. Lots of smoothing taking place. And all of this is currently like undesignated for anything other than smoothing. There's no purpose to it right now other than just being a massive hallway. But this is going to be probably our biggest section of the fortress. I mean, this is the real meat of the fortress. The area around our trade center at the beginning was kind of just an expansion. That is but one wing of an ever massive structure that can span much larger areas across the map. Because again, this is a relative to the map size, this is a pretty small area, and I really wanted to expand out and take hold of the map and get most of the area dug out. So you can see here we do have a massive hallway. This area right here is the waterworks, or where the waterworks will be. It will be going probably along this axis here and back this way, because I wanted to get the river powering it, and we're going to have some kind of gear assemblies, we're going to have water wheels, and we're going to be creating power in order to funnel our plumbing system anywhere in the fortress without having to have pump operators. So yeah, a lot of big plans in mind. But again, we have actually completed a very large portion of the fortress. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. Really, really massive expansions to the fort, and a lot of stuff has been done since the last video. And I think that's all I've done so far, designation-wise. But there have been a number of events that have occurred as well. Starting off, we've had a couple more artifacts made. That means we've got a couple more legendary people as well. I believe Lennon Cat created this artifact. It's a gypsum kern, and a kern is what a dwarf uses to grind wheat into flour. But we're going to be powering that process with the water wheel, so we're not actually going to use this kern ever. But it is a gypsum kern. All craft workmanship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with gypsum and decorated with hoary marmot leather. On the item is an image of Failed Punch the Chestnut Bucket in black bronze. So you can see they were already starting to refer back to our first artifact, which was that bucket, Failed Punch. This is the Suitor of Modesty, or in Dwarvish, Congim Urnam. So yeah, that's our gypsum kern made by Lennon Cat. Then we have an oaken door. This was made by, I forget who. I think it was one of the non-important unnamed dwarves. Oaken door. All craft dwarfship is of the highest quality. It is decorated with oak and encircled with bands of ash and tube agate. So yeah, we've had a couple new artifacts. That means we've got a couple new legendary people. I've actually had my character level up to legendary qualification, even though he has not had his artifact yet, because I've had him literally constantly since the fort began almost producing stone crafts. So he's very skilled in doing that. And also our other craftsman, I forget his name, he's an unnamed dwarf as well. He is also a legendary craftsman, and he's capable of producing artifacts of high quality at very quick speed as well. We've carved tons, like probably literally thousands of pounds of gems in the time that has passed in the fortress, because I've had 3 jewelers. I actually removed one of them right now, but there's the 2 that remain. They've been constantly cutting gems, and they still have not even gotten through the first task I gave them, which was to cut onyx. At one point, their workshop got seized, and so it got out of order. And so now you can see onyx is queued up right there, but they were still dealing with the very first task I gave them to cut onyx. And the reason for that is because we've had so many different kinds of gems that we've encountered when we've been mining out. Oh, and by the way, all of this mining work, every area here has been dug out by our 2 miners. Just 2 guys have dug all this out within a year's time. And that's Joseph Stalin and Pedro. And they have been the most productive workers in the fortress, hands down. Like, Nobody else has done near as much work as those two have, because they have literally done. They've made everything else possible for the fortress by actually creating the areas that we live and work in. So props to Pedro and Joseph Stalin. That's very good accomplishment there. But yeah, let's take a look at the stores real quick just to show you what I'm dealing with at the moment. Our created wealth is 224,000. It's spiked quite a lot since last we've shown it, and the reason for that is primarily due to our exported and imported wealth increases, and that's due to, again, the amount of crafts that we've been pumping out and putting in bins. And our population is at 98, but that's not completely accurate because we actually just got hit with a migrant wave, and they're still coming in from the edge of the map. So we are actually, I believe, at 103 according to Dwarf Therapist. But yeah, we've got a massive amount of people in the fortress. 25 stone workers. That's people who are engravers, basically, or masons. So you can see just how many people have actually gained that skill, and that's, I mean, pretty much everyone in this list is designated to be an engraver. Probably about 75 of the 103, maybe 80 or so, are on engraving tasks, and so we've had a lot of them level up. But take a look at our food stores. We've got 2,000 in our food stores, and this is just an estimate. We don't have our bookkeeper keeping track yet, so it's our best guess. It's probably more than this. And the only reason we don't have more than that is because our barrel production and our stockpile space has basically run out. Like, we cannot produce barrels fast enough to store all the food that we're growing in, and so we've had a massive just a massive stockpile of food all the time. Never going to have to worry about running out of food. 700 plant. A good portion of this is plump helmets. But again, I have been trading, and I literally bought all of the goods on the recent human caravan, and a lot of that was food. That's how we got some fish and meat, as well as probably about 150 different types of surface plants. Lots of seeds as well. And then drink, I've also been buying wine from the elves, and I bought alcohol from the humans as well. There is one thing though about the elves. Last time when they came to trade, I gave them bins in order to sell them finished goods, which basically is all of our craft dwarves stuff. And I forgot that the bins were made of wood, so the elves immediately left. They were upset, and they canceled trading with me for now, but I think they'll be back next year. I just got to be careful and make sure not to give them any bins in the future, because that will upset them and make them leave. Still don't have a military setup, but again, we don't really have a need of one. Only guy with any kind of skill still, despite the fact we have 98 dwarves, and I've checked in Dwarf Therapist, is Link. So Link is the only one capable of defending the fortress. Still doesn't have a weapon. Let's take a look at our health. Nobody's sick, nobody's injured. Not even our animals are sick or injured. And so we've had a very safe fortress so far, which is surprising. Usually I have some cave-ins and people die by this point. But things have been going well. Pedro and Joseph Stalin have been very competent diggers. And we now actually have the ability to start the justice system. I don't really have a desire to do so, because the justice system is incredibly harsh in Dwarf Fortress. And we don't have the infrastructure necessary to support a justice system at the moment. But I'm afraid that because our mayor is demanding stuff that I can't fulfill right now, like he's asking for pig bar stuff to be built, like anything out of pig iron bars, I can't actually do that because I don't have a forge set up yet, so there's a problem on that front. Definitely a concern of mine, but if it comes to it, I can just lock up the mayor in his room, let him starve to death, and pick someone new. Because I will not sacrifice our talented craftsmen and our talented dwarves just because a noble has decided that they did not get what they wanted. Alright, so that's the stockpiles. And yeah, things have been going very, very nice. A lot of changes since last I recorded. But things are progressing along rather nicely now. Our new farm has made it possible to basically free ourselves from the worry of starvation ever again. And our new nobles district has allowed us to start actually putting some of the finer goods we've made, these statues, these tables and chairs, into practical use. And nobody's died except for those two dwarves who have gone insane, Curlabone the First and that one unnamed dwarf like Saxit Oketsetsi or something like that. I don't know. I have to check with this Q menu. But not much going down right now. So what I'm going to do is cut it here, upload this as kind of a little update video, and then work out all of the stuff that's happening with the Dwarf Therapist, because there's just so much stuff I need to organize there, and I'm just going to show you before I go what that's going to look like. Alright, so Dwarf Therapist comes up. You'll notice our dwarves are not nearly as happy as they used to be. It's because a lot of them have been sharing beds with other dwarves, sleeping in the dormitory. But that's okay. Our overall fortress happiness levels are high enough. But yeah, you'll see here along the left, this is all the people assigned to stone detailing. Pretty much every new migrant wave has only done stone detailing. That's it. And we've only got 2 legendary stone detailers. That's Leet Gamer and this guy, Kadal Zolbanara. But yeah, I'll have to manage all this stuff and figure out who needs to do what, set up their workshop, set up all their industry and stockpiles. It's going to be a real headache, but once I get it done, things will run much smoother at the fortress. Won't be so constantly concerned about putting people to work, and might get some more stuff done. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you next time.